Deep inside the Alaskan wilderness, an entire aircraft vanishes, not a single fragment ever recovered. No distress signal. No wreckage. No survivors. As if the sky itself swallowed the plane whole. Welcome to the Alaska Triangle, a region so deadly it has consumed over 16,000 people since 1988. The Alaska Triangle stretches between the cities of Juneau, Anchorage, and Utqiagvik, formerly known as Barrow. Inside this triangle lies some of the most treacherous, uncharted terrain on the entire planet. A place where search parties themselves have vanished. Where rescue missions return empty-handed, again and again. The most politically explosive disappearance occurred in October 1972. A Cessna 310 aircraft departed Anchorage, carrying House Majority Leader Hale Boggs of Louisiana. Also on board, Congressman Nick Begich, pilot Don Johns, and aide Russell Brown. The plane was bound for Juneau, a routine flight of roughly 550 miles across the Alaskan interior. The Cessna vanished somewhere over the Chugach mountain range without a single radio transmission. The United States military launched one of the largest search operations in Alaskan history, 40 aircraft, 50 military planes. Over 100,000 square miles of terrain were scoured for 39 days. Nothing was ever found. Not the aircraft. Not the bodies. Not a single personal item belonging to any passenger. Hale Boggs had previously criticized FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover and questioned the Warren Commission's findings on JFK. His disappearance triggered decades of conspiracy theories that the vanishing was no accident at all. Alaska has the highest rate of aviation incidents of any U.S. state, roughly 5 times the national average. 1 in every 58 Alaskans holds a pilot license, compared to 1 in 513 Americans nationwide. Over 16,000 people have been reported missing inside the Alaska Triangle since records began in 1988. That averages out to an astonishing 4 people per day simply ceasing to exist inside this region. Alaska covers 663,000 square miles, twice the size of Texas, yet houses fewer than 750,000 residents. Much of the terrain inside the triangle remains completely unmapped and inaccessible by any road. Even modern GPS technology struggles in vast stretches of the Alaskan interior, where satellite signals are distorted. Scientists, paranormal researchers, and indigenous elders all offer very different explanations for the triangle's power. The first explanation involves extreme geomagnetic anomalies and visible forces that disrupt compass readings and aircraft navigation systems. Alaska sits directly beneath the auroral oval, a ring-shaped zone of intense magnetic activity centered on the geomagnetic pole. During geomagnetic storms, this magnetic interference can render aircraft instruments completely unreliable. In November 1986, Japan Airlines Flight 1628 reported a massive unidentified object over Alaska, the size of 2 aircraft carriers. The crew described rotating lights, enormous structures, and a craft that followed their Boeing 747 for nearly 50 minutes. The FAA confirmed the encounter on radar, a fact that remains deeply unsettling to aviation authorities. The second theory involves Alaska's catastrophic weather patterns, microbursts, sudden whiteout conditions, and atmospheric river events. A pilot can encounter perfectly clear skies that transform into a deadly whiteout in under 3 minutes, with zero warning. When visibility drops to 0, a pilot has roughly 178 seconds before spatial disorientation becomes fatal. The indigenous Tlingit and Athabascan peoples have long warned of a shapeshifting creature called the Kushtaka. The Kushtaka, meaning land otter man, is said to lure travelers deep into the wilderness, never to return. For centuries, indigenous communities refused to travel certain corridors within the triangle without performing specific spiritual rituals. Modern cryptozoologists have connected the Kushtaka legend to Bigfoot sightings. Alaska has among the highest number per capita in North America. In 2005, a state trooper in the Ketchikan area filed an official report describing a large bipedal creature crossing a remote highway. The report was logged, filed, and quietly suppressed, never released to the public through standard channels. In 1978, a Veen Air Alaska flight vanished near the Wrangell St. Elias Range with 10 souls on board. The Wrangell St. Elias National Park is larger than the entire country of Switzerland, a single park hiding mountains, glaciers, and valleys no human has ever entered. Even with satellite technology in the 21st century, search teams regularly report equipment failures deep inside the triangle. In 2019, a National Park Service rescue team reported complete radio blackout for 11 hours while searching for a missing hiker. The hiker's body was eventually found, but the team's equipment logs showed inexplicable data corruption during the blackout period. The U.S. Geological Survey has identified over 3,000 active seismic zones beneath the Alaska Triangle. These fault lines produce infrasound, low-frequency sound waves below human hearing, that cause extreme psychological disorientation. Infrasound exposure can produce feelings of overwhelming dread, hallucinations, and the sudden compulsion to flee or walk deeper into the wilderness. Researchers have documented infrasound signatures near several locations where multiple disappearances occurred in concentrated clusters. A 2014 study published in the journal Atmospheric Environment identified unusual electromagnetic pockets throughout the triangle. These pockets cause compasses to spin freely, electronic devices to reboot spontaneously, and radio transmissions to scatter in all directions simultaneously. The Alaska Triangle defies easy explanation. It may be geology. It may be weather. It may be something that science has not yet named. What is undeniable is this: more people disappear here per square mile than anywhere else on American soil. Somewhere in those 16,000 missing cases are pilots, hikers, indigenous hunters, and ordinary travelers, all swallowed by the same vast silence. The wilderness does not offer apologies. It does not explain itself. It simply takes and keeps. If you found this story unsettling, consider subscribing, because the next mystery waiting in our archive is even darker than this one.